In a development that has stirred public debate across Zambia's political and legal circles, constitutional lawyer Isaac Simbeye has clarified that President Hakainde Hichilema lacks the legal authority to prevent his son, Lieutenant Habwela Hichilema, from receiving his salary as a commissioned officer in the Zambia National Service, ZINCS. The statement, made during a live interview on Phoenix FM, comes in response to growing speculation and criticism surrounding the president's decision to forego his son's remuneration as part of a broader gesture of public service and fiscal restraint. Simbeye, a respected voice in constitutional interpretation, emphasized that the Zambian Defense Act, particularly sections 154 and 155, clearly outlines the entitlements of military personnel, including salary, allowances, and benefits tied to rank and service. According to the lawyer, these provisions are not subject to discretionary override by any executive authority, including the presidency. The law is very clear, Simbeye stated. Once an individual is commissioned and deployed within the defense forces, their salary becomes a statutory entitlement. It cannot be withheld arbitrarily, even by the commander-in-chief. The controversy emerged after President Hichilema publicly declared that his son, who recently joined the ZNS, would not be drawing a salary. The president framed the decision as a symbolic act of discipline and civic duty, suggesting that his son's enlistment was not motivated by financial gain but by a desire to serve the nation. This announcement was met with mixed reactions, some praising the gesture as a demonstration of integrity and others questioning its legality and implications for institutional norms. Minister of Defense Ambrose Lufuma later echoed the president's stance, stating that entitlement is not a right, and that the younger Hichilema's decision to forego his salary was voluntary and aligned with the administration's commitment to austerity and ethical leadership. However, legal experts have pushed back against this interpretation, arguing that the framing of salary as a non-right contradicts the statutory framework governing military compensation. The debate touches on deeper questions about the separation of powers, the role of symbolism in governance, and the boundaries of executive influence. While the president's gesture may be intended to set a moral example, critics argue that it risks undermining institutional procedures and creating a precedent where legal entitlements are subject to political optics. Simbeye warned that such actions, if not properly contextualized, could erode the rule of law and blur the lines between personal sacrifice and systemic governance. From a legal standpoint, the Defense Act serves as a safeguard against politicization of military service. It ensures that all officers, regardless of their familial ties or public visibility, are treated equally under the law. The salary structure is designed not only to compensate service but also to uphold morale, professionalism, and institutional integrity. Any deviation from this framework, even if voluntary, must be carefully scrutinized to avoid unintended consequences. Politically, the president's move can be interpreted as part of a broader narrative of reform and ethical leadership. Since taking office, Hichilema has positioned himself as a champion of transparency, anti-corruption, and fiscal discipline. The decision to have his son serve without pay may be seen as an extension of this ethos, a symbolic rejection of nepotism and privilege. Yet, the symbolism itself is double-edged. While it may resonate with citizens weary of elite excess, it also raises questions about performative governance and the instrumentalization of family members in political messaging. In Zambia's evolving democratic landscape, the intersection of law, politics, and symbolism is increasingly complex. The Hichilema episode illustrates how personal decisions by public figures can become flashpoints for national debate, especially when they touch on constitutional norms and institutional expectations. It also highlights the role of legal experts and civil society in holding power to account and ensuring that gestures of virtue do not eclipse the primacy of law. The ZNS, as a branch of the defense forces, operates under strict regulatory guidelines. Officers are recruited, trained, and compensated according to standardized procedures. Any deviation from these norms, whether in the form of salary suspension, preferential treatment, or symbolic gestures, must be reconciled with the legal framework. Simbai's intervention serves as a reminder that good intentions, however noble, must be grounded in legality. Moreover, the public discourse surrounding the issue reflects broader anxieties about governance, transparency, and the role of elites in shaping national narratives. In a country where political families often attract scrutiny, the president's decision to involve his son in national service was bound to provoke commentary. The salary question, while seemingly minor, becomes a proxy for larger debates about fairness, accountability, and the meaning of public service. For media analysts and editorial strategists, the story offers rich terrain for exploration. It invites reflection on how symbolic acts are received by different segments of the population, how legal norms interact with political messaging, and how the media can navigate these tensions with nuance and rigor. It also underscores the importance of source verification, contextual analysis, and legal literacy in reporting on governance issues. In conclusion, while President Hichilema's gesture may be rooted in a desire to model ethical leadership, the legal framework governing military compensation remains clear. Salary is a statutory entitlement, not a discretionary privilege. As Zambia continues to refine its democratic institutions, the balance between symbolism and legality will remain a critical axis of public discourse. Legal experts like Simbae play a vital role in maintaining this balance, reminding both leaders and citizens that the rule of law must prevail, even in matters of personal sacrifice.